So much talk about skeleton helmets at these Olympic Games. Where to start? Of course, there's always the discussion of the beautiful artwork put on the helmets. There was also the huge case of the British team not getting their new helmets approved for use in the Olympic races. But the big topic of discussion is Vladislav Haraskevich and the fact that he was not allowed to compete at the Olympic Games because of what he had on his helmet. Let's spill the tea on this little controversy. So what happened? Skeleton pilot Vladislav Haraskevich not allowed to participate at Milan Cortina 2026 after refusing to adhere to the IOC athlete expression guidelines. Basically, Vlad had a bunch of photos of Ukrainian athletes that had been killed in the war in Ukraine. And this violates the IOC's rules on self-expression, which in this case could be interpreted as political propaganda or at least testing a slippery slope in that direction. And in some ways, that's a little bit of a red herring and not particularly germane to this conversation because the IOC has a much simpler rule than that. Basically, you're not allowed to have any portraits or any photographic or realistic likeness of people on your competitive gear. And I know that because I was told the same thing at the last Olympics in skeleton. For many years, I raced with a photo of my face on my helmet in a very fun and whimsical manner. But I was told when I qualified for the Olympic Games, I would have to remove that sticker on my helmet. And so I did, and I put a Polynesian design instead. And so because Vlad was not willing to comply with the rules, his accreditation was stripped, and he was effectively disqualified before the race even began. And the IOC, for their part, they have held firm, and Kirsty Coventry has given a number of interviews, including breaking down on camera in tears, in defense of her organization's policies, as well as exhibiting a lot of sympathy for Vladislav and for his goals here. And there is this debate, okay, is this actually a part of sport? Is this fair? Is this part of the rules? Or is this in a gray area? Is it a protest? Is it not? And to me, that's also largely irrelevant because there are arbitrary rules to sport. In fact, that's what sport is. It's a set of arbitrary rules involving some form of physical activity where all parties agree to adhere to. And in this case, Vlad simply decided he didn't want to adhere to the strict rules that he knew before, and that's fine. And he's getting so much more press by holding firm and essentially being kicked out. He is doing so much more for the Ukrainian people and the memory of his fallen compatriots than he ever would have if he had just competed and there wasn't this whole controversy. By the same token, the IOC is defending their position and they're holding firm to what they believe are their rules and their stipulations. And in fact, from a game theory or a strategic perspective, it's probably the best for all parties here. This is the optimal scenario for both Vladislav because of the attention he gets and for the IOC because the integrity of their sport is upheld. But what do you think? Leave a comment and let me know.